Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alicia and I'm the owner of Alicia Be Creative. In today's video, we are doing a full review of the HTVRONT Manual Heat Press. So this one is a little bit different than the Auto Heat Press that I did review on my channel earlier this year. This one has different settings and it's supposed to be perfect for a lot of those difficult to press items like DTF, screen print transfers, bulky items like hoodies and crew necks and things that sometimes can maybe not press as well on the original Auto Heat Press. So I'm going to put this baby to the test, and of course I'm going to walk you through step by step everything I test, what products I use, and of course this press as well as all of the details for all of the items that I use in today's video will be listed and linked down below in the description box. Be sure to give this video though a huge thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. But let's go ahead and jump right into today's review. Okay, so let's get into today's video. So first thing we're gonna do is we are going to open up this box. So this is a heavy box. I will tell you that this is a much heavier press than my clamshell that I have currently. I do have 3 in total presses with this one included. And so I did find this one to be heavier. So right inside of the box, everything was beautifully packaged. I didn't have any damage or anything to my item. The box came great. Everything was really packed nicely. Comes with 3 sections. So you're going to get the manual, you're going to get the little time and temperature gauge, and then finally you're going to get the actual press, which you're seeing me struggle with right here. So this is not a light press, as I mentioned. It is quite heavy, but we're gonna go ahead and sort of package this whole thing. And so it comes in these three pieces, 2 pieces technically if you don't include the manual, but these 3 items right here. And the first thing I like to do before really diving into the manual is I like to see what the item can do with just me hanging around and playing with things and pushing things and doing all of the things one would do when they get something new out of a box and package. So I'm testing the handle, I'm testing the swivel feature, I'm testing the pressure settings, which is that knob at the top. I'm looking to see if this pulls out like the manual or the auto press, which it does not. And I'm just kind of messing with it and just kind of seeing what it does before I really dig into the manual. Now, the manual is not huge. It is only a couple pages big, but it does, of course, have the directions in other languages. And so really setup was simple. All I needed to do was plug it into an outlet, untwist tie the little wire that connects to the time and temperature gauge. And that is literally all I had to do, because as soon as I get this plugged in, the only thing I have to do is turn on the little power button and the entire thing is ready to go. At this point, I can set my time and my temperature that I'm going to be using. And so because we're going to be using DTF prints, I am going to use the setting that was in the manual, and that is 300 degrees for 15 seconds. And it is recommended to cold peel these. So now that we are kind of set with all of this, I'm going to show you some of the features that this manual press does have. So, of course, we have the heat plate, which is the top heavy part. We have this knob up top, which is the pressure settings, which is the biggest game changer for this heat press, because the Auto Heat Press did not allow you to change the pressure settings when you were pressing different types of different types of garments and different types of different prints and things. So it does come with this time and temperature gauge as well that just plugs directly in. It's really easy and simple to use. Read the manual, because I didn't, and so I did struggle with my first shirt, but it really is super simple. I just sometimes make things more difficult than I need to. This heat plate does swivel away. Technically it does swivel 360 degrees. However, it is not recommended that you swing it fully all the way around because of the tubing that protects the wiring, which connects into that heat plate up top. So I do love that it does swing away. The handle is actually really easy to use, almost too easy to the point where I kind of had to check multiple times to ensure that it was actually pressed all the way down, because it's just so much easier than my other clamshell that I use for pressing garments. So I am going to show you pressing a bunch of DTF prints on a few garment items. And so I'm going to do this in a couple different angles for you to see as well, so you can kind of get the full view here. So we're just going to go ahead and press our garment again for 300 degrees at 15 seconds. Again, it is recommended that you peel these cool. So I do wait for this to cool down before I end up removing the transfer paper off top of this. And then we'll go in with a second press with a Teflon sheet attached. I was really happy with the first press. I was a little bit nervous, I won't lie, because I don't have great success with the auto press with DTF transfers without having to press it multiple times. So I was really impressed with I was able to do this and peel it in one press. And then I'm going to go back in to secure that print with a Teflon sheet for about 10-ish seconds the second time. So first press came out really good. I'm really satisfied. We are going to do this again, of course, at another angle here. But what I'm finding so far is things really seem to be working really easily. Now here you're able to see how that does fully swing away that heat plate away from you. And for me, this is huge because I tend to get in the way of my heat plate a lot, like a lot. It is known for me to burn myself at least once or twice when I am pressing apparel, just because I'm either, moving too quickly or just, I'm moving the garment around under that heat plate. And because I have a clamshell currently that is my most go-to used heat press, I typically tend to burn my knuckles or things on the back portion of the heat plate as I'm pushing shirts and garments in. With this though, I love that that heat plate does fully go out of my way. That way I can ensure I'm not accidentally burning my hands or burning anything that I don't want to have heat on it. And so that is a big thing for me. So we're going to go ahead and set those settings. Now, when you push down the handle, what I will tell you is that the timer does not automatically set. You do have to make sure that simultaneously as you're pushing the handle down and the heat plate down, that you are holding the time button so that the timer does begin to count down. It does beep when the timer is at 0, but you need to make sure that you push that button to start that timer before you've closed the entire plate on top of your garment. So final press here for this shirt. Another really amazing peel. I didn't feel like the print was pulling from the garment or sticking to the transfer sheet. It really transferred well onto the garments, which is a big thing with these DTF prints and the previous version of this press. So now we're going to move on to some bulkier items. Another angle here so you guys can kind of see overall how I'm using this press, the amount of space you might need for a press like this, etc. So we're going to move on to crew necks. Now, in my original video of the auto heat press from HTVRONT, I did do crew necks with the DTF, and I did have a bit of success with that one. Now, I don't always purchase my DTF prints from the same places, and so other prints I have struggled with, but have done great with on my clamshell press that I purchased off Amazon years ago. So, those kinds of things do come into play. These prints I will tell you that I got from It's Pretty Personal, which I have shopped with before. I do love all of her items, so I will list her website down in the description box down below in case you want to create a gang sheet of your designs and start pressing your own apparel, of course. And so these were really easy to press and to peel the transfer. I didn't struggle. Obviously, I think that the heat press is a big part of it, but because of that pressure setting, being able to put that pressure on these, I felt so much more confident about these prints and these prints pressing onto garments successfully. So we're going to go in with the final press of this, and then we're really going to put this to the test. So the final garment that I'm going to press is going to be a hoodie. So in my original video, I couldn't do a hoodie with the auto press because there wasn't enough space in the background to kind of push the hoodie to one side or the other like I do with my clamshell. So I really wanted to put this to the test, and we're going to put it to even more of a test because we're going to use a screen print versus a DTF. Typically, DTFs peel a much better than a screen print. If you know, screen prints sometimes work or they don't. It all just depends. And so with screen prints, you do need extremely heavy pressure. And so what I'm doing here is because there isn't a screen print setting in the guide, I just went with what the vendor had sent with this original screen print. And so I set the temperature to be 325, and I set it for 10 seconds. So I use the recommended settings. Now with screen prints, different from DTF prints, typically you peel these while they are hot. So you want to make sure that you peel these almost immediately to ensure that the screen print ink does stick to the garment. And just like that, this peeled like butter. Like, this peeled better than any screen print I have ever used. And it surprised me, I'm not going to lie to you. So I want to show you putting this back on the plate here, this 15 by 15 plate, and how I just kind of push that hoodie to one side. It's the same thing that I do with my other heat press to get the hoodies out of the way, but I still have all that real estate of the plate to use where the hoodie is not going to be obstructing the pressure of that plate, which I love. So final press for this, and then of course I'm gonna let you know my final thoughts of this press overall. Okay, so here are my final thoughts on this HTVRONT Manual Heat Press. So all in all, everything pressed beautifully. You guys saw me do t-shirts with DTF prints. You saw me also press a screen print that I've actually had for a while on a hoodie. So I've really tried to put it to the test of the things that I know that I'm going to be using when it comes to needing a heat press for, with the exception of sublimation. Now, sublimation, of course, is another thing, but sublimation and vinyl typically are super easy to do with even just like the Cricut presses and or you know, just a general heat press. So those work really well on the other heat press that HTVRONT had sent that I've already done a review for, but I really wanted to put this one to the test because screen prints and DTF do need a series of pressure in order to press them firmly and get them to adhere to garments. So I really wanted to put this to the test. So things that I absolutely love about this heat press, number one, I really love that this clamshell feature here, how it closes. I love that it's a complete swing away. I'm known to burn my fingers, burn my hands at least once during the pressing process. I typically burn myself with the other two heat presses that I do own, but I do love that this is a complete swing away because I'm able to swing it completely out of my way and avoid burning my hands. The other thing I love is how easy and simple that this feature is able to use the heat and temperature, the temperature and time setting, I mean. Really easy to use. It did take me a little bit to like figure it out because I don't know why I don't read the manual first sometimes, but it is really easy once you get the hang of it. Really simple, easy push of the buttons. I've tried to make it more complicated than it was, and it really isn't. I do also love that they had this adjustable pressure setting. That is such a huge game changer when it comes to using different style prints like DTF and screen prints versus your sublimation and vinyl presses, because that pressure is everything to ensure you get a good adherence and, you know, adhesion to your garments and things. Now, a couple things that may be a little bit of a hindrance. This is a heavier heat press, I would say. It's heavier than my clamshell that I do currently have, but though I would say it is pretty comparable to the original HTVRONT Auto Press. The other thing that might be a little bit of a hindrance and something to think about if you're looking to purchase a new heat press, and this looks like something that could be up your alley, is the amount of space that you're going to need. Considering that this entire top portion slides and swings away, you're going to want a larger table, or at least a space that isn't going to put this heat plate section in the way of someone walking by, or just in your space, or just in your way when you're trying to get things done. So just make sure you have enough table space, because it does take up a bit of space with the fact that it does have that swing away feature. Other than that, I really do enjoy this press altogether. I think that this would be great to grab up if you're someone who's looking to get into apparel. I tried to test as many things as I could think of that I currently use, things like DTFs, which is very popular, of course, in the garment and apparel world. I also do a lot of hoodies and sweatshirts and things, so I wanted to also test on those items as well that are a bit bulkier than, of course, t-shirts. And I'm so impressed with how well everything pressed and how everything just came out. Like, I honestly am completely impressed that I didn't have to do any sort of adjustments. I was able to follow most of the settings that HTVRONT gives in the manual to be able to figure out what time and temperature I needed to set for all of my garments for today. So that is my review. Of course, if you guys have other things that you'd like for me to try out on this manual heat press, definitely be sure to leave a comment down in the description box, and I'll be sure to post an updated video with those items. Thanks for watching. So there are my final thoughts on the HTVRONT Manual Heat Press. I will let you know too that this heat press is currently on sale. I will leave all of the information for the specs of this heat press down in the description box down below, and the links of course to check this out, as well as the promo they currently have going. If you loved today's video, definitely be sure to give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And of course, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!